Good evening and welcome to the SmutNut reviews. Hi everybody. Thanks for joining me again. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome. And thanks for checking out my videos. For those of you who are returning, thanks for coming back. I always appreciate everybody who takes the time to, talk to me, listen to me, spew my nonsense, and catch up on what I'm doing. So, we're going to do the same thing that we always do. I'm going to catch you up on what I've been doing, and then we'll get into this week's book review. As per usual, the goal of these reviews is really for me to get out what I have to say about the novel, share a little bit about it with you, and hopefully inspire you to pick up the book yourself and give it a shot. So, first things first, what I've been dealing with. I told you guys last week that I'm in a really weird situation when it comes to work. Still there, still in a weird situation, but hoping for a better outcome this week so that I can really dedicate my time to making more videos, to writing, to my book, and to my own aspirations moving forward. I did want to give a special shout out to some friends of mine. Not going to say any names particularly, but the ones who encourage me, who watch my videos, who listen, who give me their feedback on what they thought about the books. I'm really appreciative of that. Family and friends, anybody close to me that's actually paying attention to these, thank you so much, because it really does mean a lot to me. I had a little bit of a dilemma in terms of my writing this week. An author that I respect highly, that I have like so much esteem for, said something that was it made me feel excluded. The truth of the matter is, I read and I write for the pleasure of it. I love to do it. I don't do it for educational purposes. I just really gain so much from reading and writing. And the authors that I do read, I really respect what they do. I love what they do. And one of the authors, she posted a prompt and she asked for some suggestions. But she was very specific, and I'm not going to go into details, but I will say that it left me feeling a little rejected as a person who is a huge fan of hers. And it left me with a lot of questions about, what direction do I want to take my own novel in? Do I want to write? And who am I really trying to reach? I haven't come to any firm conclusions, but it's made me very, question, a lot of things. I did get some really great advice, though, from the man in my life. He told me, put everything aside and just write. Whoever receives your book is going to receive it, and whoever doesn't isn't going to. And, maybe you can change some minds along the way, but in the meantime, just write. Worry about the politics and the audience and all of that later. Just write what's in your heart and write what feels good, and you'll do great. So I am always deeply appreciative to him, and the inspiration that he provides me on a daily basis. So that's where I stand personally. In terms of my writing, I'm just, I haven't gotten a lot of that done this week. With the situation at work, I have not had the opportunity to really put my fingers to a keyboard, but I have a lot of great ideas. I actually came up with a really great idea for a scene in the book that I was able to get down on paper. Well, not paper, but you know what I mean. So that's probably the only thing that I accomplished in terms of writing this week. But, you have your good days, you have your bad days, you have your off weeks. This was a little weird week for me, but it's fine. I will definitely keep you guys updated on the whole work situation. I'm hoping it works out in the direction that I want it to, so that I have more time to devote to you guys, to my own writing, and my own pursuits. With that being said, let's get into this week's review. So we're going to be continuing in the same vein that we've been for the last couple of weeks. If you've been tuning in, you know that we are reviewing the Dames of Genesis series by Jenna Jacob. This week we are on book 4. This book we are covering Saving My Submission, the Dames of Genesis, Jenna Jacob. So this is book 4 in the series. Last week we covered probably my favorite book in the series, Master of My Mind. That was book 3. This week we're on to book 4, and let's jump right into it. So this book, as I said, all of these books are kind of intertwined, and I love that about this series because it flows almost seamlessly with characters that you're kind of already familiar with. They just haven't had the opportunity to be the focal point. And so this week the focal point is on Mellie. Anybody who's read the series, or if you remember me briefly discussing book 2, Mellie is the sister of Savannah. She was in book 2, Masters. Book 2. That was about Nick, Savannah, and Dylan. And Mellie is Savannah's older sister. So she had a very brief kind of cameo in that book. Very, lighthearted. She was almost comedic relief in that book. In this book, she is the focus. And she has come to town to visit her sister and to do a little bit of work. Mellie is a art buyer. She does a lot of traveling. And so one of her clients lets her know that there is an artist who has not had a show in probably years. This is a very world-renowned artist, and he is going to be having a show in Chicago. So he wants her to go and buy. And he gives her an obscene budget to buy anything and everything, because this work is very coveted. And when she goes, she meets the artist himself, Joshua, and they hit it off. They hit it off so much that they end up spending the night together. And this is where Mellie is unnerved. She never confessed to her sister that she has dabbled in the BDSM community. She's had past experiences with a master, and it didn't go so well. As a result, she's a little trigger shy, and she's not really looking to submit or commit to any man. But in the one night stand experience that she expected with Joshua, it actually becomes a lot more. He delves deeper. He pulls something out of her that she thought was long since buried. And she is terrified. So she runs. After their encounter, she runs like hell. And she thinks that, she can just keep her distance. It won't be that bad. What she doesn't know is that Joshua is actually a member of Club Genesis. And he knows her sister very well. He's actually a member as Master Steven. That's his club name. And so while she is there visiting her sister, she finds out through a series of events that Joshua is actually Master Steven. He's a member of the club, and she'll be seeing him a lot more often than she anticipated. And he is in hot and heavy pursuit. He is not even playing with her. I think it's great the way he pursues her. He's almost relentless. He is single-minded. He wants to know more about her. He wants to experience more with her. And she doesn't quite know why, but there's a lot of layers to their story. She's been hurt. She's been abused by a master, and she's running from that. And Joshua has his own demons. His story is a little heartbreaking. And I remember the first time that I read this book, I cried. I was like, oh, that's unbearably sad. He lost his wife and his child. So his wife and his child are no longer here. They both passed. And he's been grasping and coming to terms with that for the last couple of years. This is another reason why, as a man, and in the outside world, he hasn't worked or done any shows in a very long time, because his family passed away. So for him to have such an interest in Melly, it's refreshing. It's new. It's exciting for him, and she is just running away. Things come to a little bit of a head. There's a series of events that require the submissives in the story, or the submissives in the club, to take a little bit of a public punishment. And Master Steven decides that he'll be the one to dish out Melly's punishment. So while she's up there, her past actually comes back to bite her. Or not even to bite her, but her past makes an appearance. Her old master shows up. He is there by some weird coincidence, and he's antagonizing her, and it becomes almost problematic. And he is a character that you're going to see going forward. In the book, his name is Davis, but they call him Master Kerr, Kerr, Master Kerr. The Master Kerr is a freaking pill. Like, seriously, you will see. If you can read this book, for those of you who have read this series, Master Kerr becomes a pretty regular face that is kind of a pain in the ass. But some things start happening. And this is what I love about this book, or this series in general, because it's not your atypical series. It's actually, pretty interesting, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. So in Melly's book, there is an actual physical danger. Someone is harassing her, and someone is leaving little notes and messages around. They're basically trying to kill her, and she doesn't understand why or what happened or where it came from. She only knows that it started when she got to Chicago, and she's not sure if it's tied to Master Steven, or if it's her old master, Master Kerr. Initially, everybody believes it's him. That he's the one who's got these, weird designs on her, and he's trying to kill her, and he's just gone stalkerish. And even when she goes home, because she does leave and she goes home, she still finds herself in immense danger. And Joshua comes to her aid. He comes to her rescue, and he's there for her through every step of it. Eventually, they do have to take extreme measures, and I don't want to give away the entire plot of the book, but things get really, really intense, and it's a really dangerous chain of events that seems to take place. And you have to kind of put two and two together and see who really is the danger to Melly. Is it Steven himself, Master Steven? Is it Master Kerr? Is it someone else? There's a lot of moving parts to this book. It's like a thriller. I think this book, out of all of the books here in this series, would probably make a really good movie. But again, I would never endorse this series to be a movie. Not because I don't absolutely adore it, because I do so much, but I don't think anyone would be able to do these characters any justice. They're just so near and dear to my heart. I could not imagine making or having them rip this beautifully put together story to shreds and cutting out anything. Everything about this series and about this book is so intricate and so important. I would never dare cut a single word out. So that's the only reason. But this book is packed full of action. It's full of, intrigue and mystery. It's definitely a whodunit. And once again, I can go on and on and on about the wonders that are Jenna and Jacob. But I think you guys are probably tired of hearing that from me. This book is wonderfully written. It's very intense. I love the moments between Joshua and Melly, because both of them struggle with accepting or, coming to terms with the budding relationship they have. Melly is very much an independent woman, and she's not certain she can commit. She's not certain she even wants to commit. But Joshua kind of pushes her to accept that she does care about him, and she's just scared to embrace something because it failed her once. But he's asking her, take a chance on me. I will not fail you. And I think that's beautiful. With him, I think his journey in the book was even more interesting to me, because here's a man who lost everything. He lost his family, he lost his wife, he lost his child, his heart was broken, and you watch him kind of, push through to put and pull something back together. It's actually pretty beautiful. There's a scene where he kind of breaks down and has a moment where he's not completely certain if he's ready to move on from his wife. This is a woman that he loved. He gave her his last name, his ring. They had a child together. They had a life. And here he is with another woman experiencing these heights of pleasure that he used to experience with his wife. And he's not really certain how to deal with that. So I liked watching him kind of confront those demons and make the conscious decision that, he does want to be with Melly. Every woman wants to be chosen. We all want to feel like the man that we're with chose us. Not that it just happened, but he not only made a choice to be with us, but is continuing to make that choice. So I think that was really lovely. And the way that Jenna weaved that together was actually very vivid. You could feel his angst, you could feel his pain, but you could also feel the hope that he had, and the desire that he has to start fresh. I think that is a wonderful thing. She has a great way of showing you the triumph of the human spirit, that you can push forward, that you can get over some things, and hurdle these obstacles in life. That's why I love this series. It's not just sex. It's great sex. It's dirty, but it also, there's some great life lessons in these books. I'm not going to prattle on much longer. I think this book is amazing. Like most books in this series, this is definitely one of my favorites. I loved the characters. I love the depth of emotion that you get from them and how it's pulled from you. I'm just really in love with this series. And it's, like I said, it's near and dear to my heart. As a submissive, this is a great way for someone to read and understand what a real submissive relationship is supposed to be like, what a real dominant should be like. If you're interested, if this is a lifestyle that you have any curiosity about, read this series. It's not all hearts and flowers, but it's pretty damn close to what you should be looking for. The communication, the effort, the care, the commitment to each other. It's all right here in the pages of these books. In terms of the heat, the content, come on. Jenna Jacob does sex, and it's amazing. I'd probably say my favorite scene between the two of them is their first night together. When Melly is unaware that Joshua is a dominant. She's unaware of, who he really is. And so she kind of has her guard down. And the encounter between them, the sex between them is so amazing. He breaks down all of her defenses and crawls inside her, not just inside her body, but inside her head, and opens her up in a way that she still is reeling from days later. That is intimacy. That is connection. It's amazing the way Jenna was able to craft that and make you feel that. Days later, she's still uncomfortable in her own skin because he's there. She feels him in every every touch, every move, and when she sees him again, it all comes flooding back. So I was blown away by that. So yeah, heat index always through the roof. It's just a guaranteed 10. For me, I'll continue to read these books as long as Jenna continues to write them. No matter how short or how small, I love them all so much. I really do. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. I am, obsessed. And I'll be back next week with another Jenna Jacob book, book 5 in the series, and we'll keep going. As long as she keeps writing these books, I'm going to keep reviewing them, and I'll probably keep loving them. And that's the way that's going to be. So for now, I'm going to say goodnight. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook. If you are not familiar, you can find me under SmutNut429. And I will be back maybe shortly, with another review. So in the meantime, you guys have a great night and enjoy the rest of your weekend.